to do super in Wednesday's double because it's quite chunky, and it's also relevant to you people because a lot of you would be working right now. And I actually gave you some slightly wrong information last time about who actually gets paid super. It's anyone that's 18. It doesn't matter the amount of hours that you work. So let's go into first. All of this is in black, but this stuff in black is actually useful for you to know, and hopefully you appreciate that if I show you my pay slip, I'm going to show you what to look for in the information there. So we've already discussed the idea of an annuity is a compounding account that you regularly put money into to reach a future value. In Australia, I think it was decided in the 80s, when you earn an income, your employer currently pays an extra. It's not part of your pay, it's on top of your pay. An extra 11.5%. Please be warned, your textbook uses 9.5 because it's an old textbook. But for now, if there's a superannuation question in your exam, it's probably going to be 11.5% because that's real. Okay? So they pay an extra 11.5% of your income into a super fund. So these are the laws. This is Australian government ATO website. Who gets paid super? This website is from the point of view of the business owner. So this is like a business owner going, who do I have to pay super to? You pay it regardless of how much they're paid. It doesn't matter how much you get paid. You could be doing one shift. They need to pay that 11.5% on top. Who do you have to pay? If they're 18 years or older, everyone gets it. Doesn't matter how little or how much you work. If you're under 18, that's when it becomes a little iffy. So last lesson, I believe I said it was 18 years or older, 30 hours or more. No. 18 years or older, everyone gets it. If you're under 18, you have to work more than 30 hours a week. Okay? That's 11.5% on top. So chase it up, because businesses, if they're a bit sketchy, they're going to take advantage of you not knowing about that. What is super? You can only access that money in your super fund when you retire to live off, when you're no longer working. I think it's 68 now. A super fund is a giant pool of income from all people with that fund the directors try to invest. So I searched, what are the biggest super funds in Australia? These ones, you probably see ads for them, Host Plus, etc. I've definitely seen a Uni Super ad online. What are these? Anyone with these companies, their 11.5% is going into that account. And Host Plus is trying to invest that money. They can invest it in shares. They can invest it in gold. They can invest it in crypto. They're trying to grow it too. Okay? And so we simulate growing it by pretending it's a compound interest basis. The other one I wanted to show you was what to look for on your pay slip. So this is my actual pay slip. You can see information redacted there. If you are 18 or older, you need to see something like this. Because if you don't, you're getting ripped off. Because even though, okay, my pay is supposed to be quite a lot, do you think it would be bad to ignore an extra $500 on top? That would be bad. I've shown you what the rules are legally. If you're over 18, you must be getting this. That's an extra, that's a tenth of your shift that you should have been paid on top, okay, that you have access to. So keep that in mind. I've shown you the rules. Well, this is what you need to look out for. Some workplaces take care of you and pay you early. That's good. You're an example of that. That's a good sign for that workplace that they want to take care of their workers. But some Hallett Cove McDonald's, for example, they probably won't do this. They'll wait until you hassle them about it. Okay? The other thing that I wanted to show you was, why do we pretend it's a compounding interest basis? Because, for example, Host Plus, what do? December 2024, they released how much their super fund increased by. So when you put your money into super fund, you can choose if you want them to invest low risk, high risk. So what is high risk? They might invest it in crypto, stuff like that, dodgy things. But you can see that last year, Host Plus, people that chose the high risk, high growth, whatever's in their super increased by almost 15%. Whereas the people that were a bit chickened out, they only went up by 5%. So these percentages are all affected by lifestyle factors, In the world, like my super went down heaps during COVID, but then it recovered really fast again. When Trump's tariffs came in, the little graph on my super went down a lot and is slowly starting to recover. So we can't simulate year-on-year movement because it'd be too complicated. So in maths, for us, we just pretend that it grows by a certain percentage all the time, okay? So now the actual notes that you'd want to take would be here. Things to remember with your super fund: you regularly put a percentage, 9.5% in your book, but 11.5% in real life, of your income into your super fund. The super fund is simulated as compound interest, and the super fund grows due to regular contributions and compound interest to an FV after a certain amount of time. Can I ask you people, please, can you get that explanation of the maths behind it, and then this example about Dean, so that we can do the first part of a super question, okay? Go. A few minutes, don't talk. If you go between lots of different jobs, you might find that your super is in one super account and another super account. It's all split up. It's better to all keep it in one, because some of those super funds have fees. So you might have a little bit of money in there, but it's slowly draining away. You want it all to be in one chunk. Yeah.
So it's not very super.
No, it's not. But the government has a website where it will automatically look for all super in your name to roll it over into one for you. Yeah. So I used to be with Host Plus because I worked at the casino before this, but then the government doesn't give us a choice what our super fund. We just have to go with the one that they offer. So I had to roll that in.
Was Host Plus good?
Host Plus is one of the best.
Yeah, okay.
If I had a choice, I would have stayed with them, but... And this is on the video. Hey guys, Governor of South Australia, I don't get a choice in my super fund, huh? Could you change your mind, maybe? Because I earn a lot more money with Host Plus than you guys.
Literally 1984.
When I get to choose. And ours doesn't perform that well. My high risk was 12%. Theirs was 15.
Well, that's why I got high risk.
Yeah, but obviously the Host Plus people know what to invest in better. So super questions in your textbook and the exam tend to come in two parts. The first part is generally the person is working and they're saving up for retirement. So that's the situation here. Dean is currently 20. He's working full-time at a department store. He's getting 52 grand a year. And his employer is going to put money quarterly into his super fund. So part A, how much will the employer contribute to Dean's superannuation fund each quarter? Well, how would I work out how much money Dean earns every quarter of a year? 52,000 divided by 4 equals so that's a quarter of his income. Why is that important? Because we need to know what 11.5% of that is, because legally in Australia that's what goes in for super. Okay, so what's 11.5% as a decimal? 11.5%, 0.115 times by that 13 grand. I don't trust that. I tried to work out how to turn off that bloody auto calculation and I really couldn't. So if anyone can work out how to turn that off, I'll have a reward for you.
What program is it?
It's notes on macOS, and I followed online instructions for it, and it's doing work. Equals 1495. So that's what's going to go into Dean's super fund each quarter from his workplace. B. Dean's super fund returns 5% compounded quarterly. Find the amount of money in the fund when he retires at the age of 60. So compound interest N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, CY. Leave N for now. What's the interest rate of the super fund according to the question?
5%.
5? Does it say anything about Dean starting off with money in his super fund? Does it say, Dean is currently working and he started off with 50 grand or something? No. So PV is going to be nothing. How much did we work out is going into his super fund each quarter? In A, what did we just say? What did we just say he's putting in each quarter? Good. So if it's going into the super fund, what sign would it be? It's going from him into the account, minus. FV is what we're solving for because we want to work out how much money he's going to have at his retirement age. Super fund compounds quarterly, so PY and CY are both going to be 4. So now we can work out N. He's currently 20 and he wants to retire at 60. So how many years is he going to keep putting this $14.95 in every quarter? How many? 40. 40 years, but it's compounding 4 times a year. So N is going to be 40 times 4, which is 160. So I go to apps, finance, put everything that I know from the question in. 160, 5, started off with nothing. It's his first job. Negative 14.95. 4 and 4. Alpha, enter. That tells me that he's going to retire with $753,243.30 to 2 decimal points at the age of 60. That sounds like a lot, but unfortunately, if you look at recent news, you probably want to retire with 1.5 million to live comfortably these days. Can you get that example down? Please keep it quiet because then we're going to do the second half of a super fund, which would be Dean living life off of that money until he dies, basically. Well, it'll be a different character. It won't be Dean. Can you get that example down, please? That is working until retirement, part of a super fund question. Any assumptions and limitations about this? Are we assuming that he stays at 52 grand pay for 40 years? Dean. You got to ask some questions, Dean. He's a 60-year-old man getting paid 52 grand.
Doesn't seem to account for inflation either.
Doesn't account for inflation. Dean's just happy, just chilling.
What if he doesn't retire at 60?
That's another assumption, because the retirement age currently is like 65,
What if
68.
he dies?
Yeah,
You can't.
that's things to think about in your DIA.
Yeah. We have also a thing for how to turn off the maps. I'll go after.
It's not the mouse, it's the auto calc.
Yeah, that.
I don't see anyone madly writing, so I'll do the second part. Alright, last little bit. The second half of super questions involve withdrawing your super. So super questions in the subject almost always deal with two aspects of your super. Depositing it, which is what we looked at above with Dean. But the second half is putting the contents of your super fund into a pension fund. You roll it over. Then you withdraw from the pension fund regularly as your income. Because if you're not working, where are you going to get money from to pay for food or petrol? You're not working anymore. So what the government is trying to do with super is force you to save for your retirement. Okay? This pension fund, we pretend, is a compound interest bank account starting with the end result of your super fund, and you withdraw payments regularly. So things to remember regarding the pension fund: the starting principal of the pension is the final value of the super fund rolled over. The pension fund is simulated as a compound interest. The pension fund shrinks because of regular withdrawals until PMT goes down to zero. Basically, we're pretending the person is living off their pension fund withdrawals until they are, to put it to politely, no longer with us. So you can work out how much you can live off per week or per month until you are meant to die, because you won't have any money left. And you get those considerations for withdrawing your super in the next few minutes. And then we'll do maths. I'll give you until 1:45. Because with a pension fund, if you increase the withdrawals, then you can live it up, but you're going to live a shorter amount of time. If you want to live longer, then you're not going to spend as much. Question?
Yeah, another assumption. What if the rate changes?
That's another massive thing.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the assumptions and limitations, all of those will apply for your assignment as well.
What if the super fund shuts down?
I don't think that's been tested in Australia. I think the government would try to step in if they were big enough. Just like the banks, if they were big enough. Because too many...
I mean, last time we didn't do anything to fix the banks. That was the Great Depression.
In America they did.
Yeah, the Great Depression, that was...
I think they said that Australia, all the super funds in Australia are worth like $5 trillion.
Yeah, so definitely have an incentive to keep it.
They've got an incentive because there'll be a bunch of old people pissed off at the government if they didn't do it.
And also the government's mostly old people.
Yeah, exactly. 2 more minutes to get these considerations about withdrawing your super, and then we'll pretend that we are Heather, who's currently 65, and she's got 900 grand in her super fund, and let's see what she can live off.
It's a shame we won't be getting a pension. That's why at least.
There's ways to get around it. So when I was still okay with my parents, they would, as long as you don't have too many assets,
Yep.
you can still get the government pension and have your own money. So that's why sort of parents, when they're on good terms with their kids and everything, they might give you the house, because if they have the house, well, the government's going to go, why are we going to give you free money if you've already got that? But if you get rid of it, it's not yours anymore. There's ways around, okay? And that's unfortunately why it's so hard for you guys to buy, because the rich people remain rich because they've got ways of
Yeah.
getting around the little rules.
I don't know what I'm suddenly reminded that time.
30 seconds.
I'm suddenly reminded that time the Dutch literally ate the rich.
That happened?
Yeah, they ate the Prime
Okay.
Minister once.
I'm not going to look it up while the video is playing, but
Yeah, fair enough.
that's some content I'll check out later.
It's for.
I need a hotspot it, right?
Do you teach history for your care group?
Why would I teach history? I'm a maths and bio teacher. Never mind. Let's pretend to be Heather. She just retired at age 65. She's got 900,000 in her super fund, so she rolls it over into her pension fund, which is returning 4% compounding monthly. So if Heather wants to live off $5,400 per month, we want to work out how long it's going to be until she runs out of money. So it's a compound interest question, A. N, we want to work out how long. So that's what I'm solving for. What's the interest rate of Heather's pension fund here? But in the TVM solver, we don't need to convert. So it's just straight 4. She rolled over the contents of her super fund while she was working into this to live off. So what's it going to start off with? Good. But what sign would it be? It's not in her pocket. It's currently in the bank. Negative 900,000. PMT. She is living off the money that she's withdrawing from that 900,000. So what sign would that 5,400 be? It's coming out of the bank to her so that she can pay for groceries, etc. So what sign would it be? Positive. 5,400. FV. It's a bit morbid, but we're pretending that she's got this 900,000 and she's going to live it off it until she's done. So what's going to be in the account at the end? Nothing. We want it to last exactly until we're done with this world, okay? PY, she wants to withdraw it per month, so it's going to be 12. And CY, the account is also compounding monthly, so 12. So see how we know everything except N? How long? Let's see how long this is going to last. Let's see how long Grandma Heather can live it up at $5,400 per month. 5,400 negative 900,000 and 4%. Alpha solve. That spits out 243.68 months. How would I convert that to years by... Because it hasn't asked me to convert it to years, so I couldn't mark you down for saying 243.68 months. But if it did ask for years, what would I do? Okay, 243.68 divided by 12 equals, second quit, 243.68 divided by 12. If she was living up like that, years. So her money would last her 30. She'd get till 80 before her money ran out, spending $5,400. But you're aware of inflation. What happens to the cost of living over time? So if she's constantly spending $5,400, it might be nice at the start, but she might not be able to afford so many parties and petrol and like the real Tim Tams at the end of 20 years, because 20 years is a freaking long time. Yeah, so keep that in mind. So that's A. B. If Heather wants the money to last until she is 90 years old, if she wants it to last longer, what's going to change here? Spend less money. So PMT is what we're going to find this time. We've just worked out that it's going to last 243 if she spent 5,400. But now we want it to last 30 years. So 30 times by 12. We want it to last 360 months. So if I solve for PMT, she's only going to be able to afford a lifestyle of $4,296.74 if she wants it to last a bit longer, if she wants to live to 90, okay? So that's your working out. For B, if Heather wants the money to last that long, N is 360, I is still 4. She still started at 900 grand. PV is still negative 900,000. But we solve for PMT equals $4,296.74 to GDP per month. To, yep.
Isn't it 300? 265? Am I lost?
Oh yes, you're right. Thank you. 65. She wants it to last to 90, so that would be 25 years. So sorry, that's going to be 300. My bad. Thank you. That's live. That's why I'm doing it live, so you can see I'm not practiced. I'm doing it live. So now it's 3,000, 300. You can tell me. That's fine. Okay, so she can afford a little bit more. Her lifestyle's a little bit. She won't have to make dodgy content to live. $47.50 $47.50 per month to live to 90. What is she going to end up with? Nothing. PY equals 12. CY also 12. That's super for you. Thanks for the correction, by the way. Thank you. I'll stop that.